We start in Russia, where opposition leader Alexei Navalny has been sentenced to 15 days in prison. He was one of thousands of protesters who took to the streets across Russia, demanding the resignations of President Vladimir Putin and Prime Minister Dmitry Medvedev, who they accuse of corruption and nepotism. And as Mobin Nasir reports, the protesters are not backing down.
Russia without Putin. That's what thousands of protesters in Moscow and other Russian cities are demanding. They accuse the ruling United Russia Party of corruption, and they want the Prime Minister and the President to resign. While they're calling for an investigation into the accusations, they have little faith in the legal system.
If Dmitry Medvedev is guilty of these lies, this corruption, all of which is stated in the framework of the Constitution, then of course he must be punished. But because our higher courts today are subject to this very corruption, this case will not be investigated.
The biggest protest since Putin's latest inauguration in 2012 began after a video posted online 3 weeks ago by opposition leader Alexei Navalny went viral. In it, he accuses Prime Minister Medvedev of splurging his ill-gotten wealth on mansions, yachts, and vineyards. Navalny was arrested at the protest in St. Petersburg and jailed for 15 days for disobeying police orders. But his arrest has further galvanized the opposition online and in the streets.
One man cannot do anything, but a large number, they can at least show that it is impossible to live like this any longer. Impossible. But I'm afraid it will not be enough. I'm afraid the authorities need to be hit over the head.
The government's refused to release Navalny, and it's continuing its crackdown on protesters, labeling them misled minors.
We can't respect people who deliberately mislead minors, in essence children, calling on them to take part in unauthorized actions in unauthorized places.
Opposition parties are hoping people will turn out in even larger numbers to vote in next year's presidential elections. But with frequent clampdowns on dissent, it appears difficult to break Putin's 18-year grip on power. Mobin Nasir, TRT World.
Our editor-at-large, Craig Capiters, joins me now live from Paris. Craig, thanks for being with us as ever. Transparency International ranks Russia 131st out of 176 countries on corruption. How has corruption affected Russia's economy?
Well, the corruption is linked to the sanctions, because the sanctions against Russia, Russian corporations and individuals, is an outgrowth of that corruption. And in real economic terms, you're looking at, since 2013, the annual per capita income in Russia has dropped from $15,000 a year to around $9,000 a year, which is China level. Most of the real serious Russia economic watchers are saying that you're going to see a 2.4% drop in GDP by the end of this year. And that, oddly enough, the drop in oil prices has had a much more significant effect on the Russian economy than these sanctions or any corruption that's percolating inside the Kremlin.
Presidential elections due soon, Craig. Do these protests have enough momentum behind them to do Putin any serious damage?
Well, look, you know, as our Kremlinology was once the science of watching 144 million people wrestling inside a black bag and figuring out who was going to win. That's changed now. There's more than 144 million people. Bottom line here is that no insurrection against the established power in Russia has ever been successful without the public galvanizing the army and the security service. This is the 100th year of the anniversary of the Bolshevik Revolution. The revolution in 1991 that toppled the communist regime came with the backing of the security services and the army. And they're just not there yet. Whether they will get there or not is anyone's question, but I wouldn't bet on it. Putin is a former KGB agent. He has managed to amass more power and influence in Russia than any other leader in its history, and that's going back to the czars. It's a fairly marvelous accomplishment he's done in historical terms, not in practical terms.
Craig Capitas in Paris, thank you so much.